17, couldn't tell you if I was living a dream. What could I do for a while? I played the field. How could I prove the hidden yield without the blues to feel? My heart was cool and left no residue. Catch me if you fall, catch me when you're low. The loot goes high and high, as friends you used to know. Catch you when you fall, catch you when you're low. I love you, take a good look, it's a simulation. Wake up, it's solitary. Wake up, it's imaginary. And don't you know, your life is worth more than what can take a good look, it's a simulation. Wake up, it's solitary. Wake up, it's imaginary. Man, don't you know, your life is worth more than Catch me if you fall, catch me if you're low. The loot goes high and up, as fast as you can go. Oh, catch me if you fall, catch me when you're low. All right. So craziness. You know, I don't know if you're just joining. First of all, it's already crazy that we can see Jupiter and Saturn in a single frame.
and I'm just trying to keep it steady. It's right off screen, or not, right within screen actually. So I'm trying to keep it steady, and you can see both of them. But bottom right corner next to the ISO, you can see Jupiter, and then at the top, kind of middle, that's Saturn. So that's already very rare. But what's crazier is I was getting set up to stream, and I had this view and this object. I think it's a satellite that passed through. I need to just check it, but it happened to fly by like the instant I hit streaming. So thankfully it actually is logged on the live stream. So jump back to the beginning of the stream, the first few seconds, and you'll see this object pass through this shot, which is just nuts, like this round object. Anyway, sitting down here, checking the chat room, going up to the top. What's up, Astrolabium? How's it going? Abrize, what's going on? What's up, Nericor? What's happening, Vicky? Nice to see you. What's up, Lost Brooklyn? What's up, Buddy? Nice to see you, bud. Buddy. Hope you've been keeping busy and doing well. So, yeah, this is the countdown, or count up, or lead up to the Great Conjunction on the 21st, but already it's looking amazing. Let me know if you can hear me clearly, and remember to hit that 4K, and share the stream if you'd like with a friend. So I've got the 8-inch scope with the Sony a6 V, and I added a focal reducer, so that makes it an f6.3. And then, like I said last night, I've added this 2x extender tube, which pulls the camera further away from the scope, and it allows us to get an even wider shot from the 8-inch, which is what's giving us this view right here. Otherwise, I'd have to use a much smaller scope, and I don't want to do that. What's up, Buddy's family? Good evening. Happy Sunday. What's up, Jimbo? Hello. Yeah, so kicked off with Catch tonight, which I don't think I've ever done. Started the show with Catch, maybe back in the day. But I had some really nice reactions to yesterday's video. It was a really good, fun, talkative show. So please ask me some questions tonight. Let's start a topic and augment our learnings. Talk about some plasma, talk about some geometry. I watched some of, what have I been looking into today? I was looking into Marduk and Tiamat and the whole kind of Sitchin story reconstruction of the antiquity and the celestial makeup of what our ancestors saw in terms of the planetary systems, and I was trying to tie it into some electric universe stuff. I know that Tess, Mythos Decoded, has touched upon that a lot, and other people have done way more research than I have, but looking into it, looking into the Star of Bethlehem, looking into rare conjunctions, and it's really, in this particular Jupiter and Saturn conjunction at this peak of human technology, or at least this level of human technology, is quite extraordinary. I'm sure a lot of people saw the one 800 or so years ago, but we don't really have a lot of records of it. So this is one. And I'm going to go through some tunes tonight. I updated the playlists. I even got ready to put some new music out for y'all, stuff that you haven't heard before, which is fun. But I don't see anybody telling me that the sound is good. Please let me know. I don't want it to sound like all weird, and then just keep moving. But I hope y'all are feeling good tonight. And I'm going to play something from this instrumentals playlist. It's called Change the Tone. Hey, what's going on, Mass Bishop? What's up, Copper Tropicals? Yeah, definitely trying on the 21st. Unless it's raining, I'll be on. But I got a little bit of Jupiter right here. This is the widest shot, so it's looking kind of tiny. But we got 4 Galilean moons. Let me zoom in and see what they are. At the top left, you got Ganymede. And then going right from Jupiter, you got Io, Europa, and Callisto at the very bottom right. Once I do another zoomed in shot, I'll put the labels up. It's still kind of bright here, so the sun hasn't fully set. So it's getting nice and clear. And like I said, I'm going to try and do this conjunction on the 21st, but really the amazing part is that we can pretty much see them in the same frame. Or not right now because I'm recording, but we can see Jupiter and Saturn in one single frame, which is unbelievable. Right there. So sweet. Alright, I see some more people joining. Let's see. What's up, Dr. Ayad Hassan Kamil? How's it going, Kamil? Lost Brooklyn. Rudolf Steiner has great lectures diving into similar topics. Just re-listened this morning to human relations to sun and moon. Was that in relation to similar topics in terms of what? Let me know. What's up, Rodrigo Nino? Are you ready to kill the internet on the 21st? Well, I'm always up for these crazy alignments, conjunctions, transits, and etc. And luckily, or not luckily, just by persistence, plasma willing, I've been able to capture a lot of these amazing things like the solar eclipse and the Venus transit and the Mercury transit and the Venus occultation, actually. So I had some good questions about Mercury and Venus occulting one another, and that's one of those things that's actually never occurred, nor does it seem possible. I've looked up some records and it doesn't seem like that can really happen. So I had some really nice comments in yesterday's video. I really appreciate that. It makes people see the video. A lot more people see the video when it comes up in, when they search for space stuff. So comments really help, and I appreciate that. I'm also working on updating Bandcamp over the next couple of weeks over the holidays and putting together a couple more albums of the new stuff for y'all. And let's see, did I just lose the planets because I'm talking so much? It is kind of hazy, I gotta say. No, not too bad. There we go. Yo, what's up, David Davis? How's it going? Says, great stream yesterday. It was nice to hear your thoughts. I appreciate that. I'm always happy to share and to have a good dialogue about things, or monologue about things. But no, I really do want to hear everybody's opinion on what I have to think. Let's see. What are the chances solstice in conjunction? I don't know. I mean, chances, I think we live in an incredible age of constant coincidences and serendipity that I think it's just a perspective of being surprised by it or expecting it. Not doing so well the alignment tonight, but here we go. Just trying to get them both in the same frame. Alright, I'm just going to max out the ISO a little bit so we can see really Jupiter very clearly with the moons and Saturn at the very top. And we'll stick with this for a moment. '21st, it's a date. Yes, it is. Hopefully I'll be playing, well, it's going to have to be on this setup, so no live tunes, but probably next full moon we'll do some live tunes on the 11. Wild Vicky says, I was just sitting here watching a documentary about Saturn, fairly recent info actually. It was on DDTV YouTube. What were they talking about Saturn? Was it like the Cassini missions or just historical Saturn. Love to hear everybody's thoughts on this shot right here, because it is super duper rare and crazy to have these like mega planets this close. You know, 21st will be even closer, but even this is just insane. As well, people just joining, something really cool happened right at the beginning of the stream, and also very lucky, talk about serendipity, that I was just pushing stream on open broadcast software on OBS, which starts pushing it to YouTube, and I hadn't clicked go live yet. And literally I had this shot up and I want to say like probably a satellite passed right through this frame, really visible. So if you haven't gone and seen it, go check out the first like 20-30 seconds of the stream, and you'll see how insane it is that I happen to have pushed start streaming, or else I would have never captured it. Or else I would have never captured it because I wasn't recording on the camera. And just an unbelievable passing. So let me know what you think of that if you go back and check it. Otherwise, you'll see it on the replay. What's happening, Dwayne Heath? I just prayed that I have clear skies on the 21st. You and me both. What up there, Ellie Wynn? Evening Z Proxy, or morning Z Prox. You're up late. I guess it's kind of midnight or 1 for you. No, it's probably midnight, right? All good. Let's keep jamming with some tunes. Let's do the song called Visit. All right, hopping back in here because there's lots to talk about. I think yesterday I was a little bit loud on the microphone, so let me know if this is a little too loud. I can always adjust it. I feel like I was pretty clear, but I want to make sure it's levels. All right, hopping in. Let me know if I missed you. Give me a shout out. I'll say what's up, and let's talk about the hexagon on the North Pole of Saturn, or at the pole of Saturn. Quickly, what's up, Rune Thorson? How long will I be streaming? Probably an hour and a half from now. So I've set up really early tonight. Sun just set, so there's a solid hour of this, and then maybe we'll look at some stars, hopefully. Okay, so Vicky was watching. You were looking at watching the Saturn documentary, and what were they talking about? You're talking about. The documentary was about new info on how it was likely much a sun billions of years ago. It's good. At the last photo, they talked about the hexagon on the North Pole of Saturn, on the pole of Saturn, on it in the Saturn and the alley. Well, I don't know what that is. Didn't have any clue as to what to cause it. As what I can barely read now. Like that comment like screwed my brain. All right, but basically talking about like how they have no idea about what caused the hexagon on the pole of Saturn. And Vicky continues, I know that's why I don't get it, why they're so insistent on saying it's nothing electric. It's anything electric. Sorry if I'm rephrasing. That shot is clear as a bell, 4 moons of Jupiter, and still see Saturn at the top of the picture. Okay. So now I'm just reading all of Vicky's comments. A little distracted. But yeah, anyway, point is, Saturn is along a Birkeland filament. NASA even has images of it in infrared and with the Chandra X-ray, and you can see these kind of filamentary webbings, nettings, and also essentially like they call it magnetic ropes, but these are twisted Birkeland filaments that kind of connect everything in our that absolutely connect everything in our universe, not kind of. And they go through the North Pole of Saturn, and this twisting of the coaxial Birkeland filament is what causes these counter-rotations in the through the centers of planets and stars and every quantum particle, I would imagine, because it's all fractal. So I would bet that Jupiter has a similar type of system, but it's just a different variation on the fractal. So it's not going to look identical. What I actually think, if you ever seen a Mandelbrot set, or if you've seen the concept of fractalization, you'll see that ultimately it's part of this giant whole, but certain parts of it look different, right? And that variance is why I think certain planets look the way they do, and others have their own kind of rings or their own systems, their own variances, but ultimately they're all the same sort of shape, right? And they all have the same counter-rotating surfaces. Or they have, well, even Earth, right? We have a solid and liquid surface, but the clouds above us and all the layered plasma shells around Earth actually have this flow, this laminar flow, or these kind of currents that work within this geometry that I've talked about, and that Ken Wheeler talks about, and that Fractal Woman talks about. I think it's so important to kind of integrate, I keep saying kind of, it's so important to integrate this type of information in the new questions about science and space, because I think otherwise we're never going to augment the conversation. I watched Carolyn Porco, the head of the Cassini missions. I went to Saturn and spent all this time and got this amazing footage of Saturn. But really, like when you see the breakdown and the analysis, the epilogue to these giant missions, it's really rife with nostalgia and not really huge discoveries, right? A lot of descriptive, I guess discoveries can be descriptive, right? You can say, wow, I got to this place and it looked all sorts of ways. So I don't want to deride that, but I think in terms of how much money and time and the fact that it's really supposed to be a scientific mission, really nothing new has been discovered about Saturn except things that were really already seen from Earth and just confirmed by being there. There's no makeup of Saturn. There's no idea of what the surface of Saturn looks like. There's no idea if it's hollow. There's no concept or talk about how Saturn is powered from the outside, like the sun is powered from the outside. Same way the Earth receives information through its poles. The same way humans likely end up receiving information from the ether through our north and south pole, right? Things, follow the system throughout every scalar dimension. And that's why it's, so there's that, and then hexagons are inherently an electrical or natural structure, right? It's not this kind of thing where everything is circular, so therefore hexagons unnatural or weird. I think that's the weird way of talking about it, when in fact you have basalt flats, you have bee honeycomb structure, you have molecules, you have hexagons on the moon, you have bubbles in a sink, all of these creating naturally forming hexagons because of boundary layers, spheres emanating outwards because of oscillation, spheres into the ether resists it, other spheres resist it, you create boundary layers, therefore you create hexagons. So that's what's happening at the North Pole of Saturn. And I would bet, I don't think we can see the South Pole right now, but the South Pole likely has a version of it because it's really just counter-rotating symmetry all the way through the core. If you can imagine, well, we don't even have to imagine. I think I've stayed on this shot for a bit. Let me zoom in to both these. Well, actually, let me know in the comments if you want me to stay on this wide shot of both of them, or if I should start doing some zoomed-in shots of Saturn and Jupiter. Sound is at a good level, thank you. What's up, Francisco Daniel? Yeah, so those are some thoughts. I mean, I think Saturn is way more understandable than it's presented in the public, in the pop sci culture. I also think that, a discovery like the Cassini missions were so important and so groundbreaking that they should be regularly debated and talked about, which is kind of a sign of how strange popular science really is. You see all these videos that come out on these YouTube channels, and it's so rare that anybody says, okay, let's open up some of these things that we've discovered about like the Juno missions or the Cassini missions, and really dig in and kind of relate it to some sort of previous science and create an augmented version of the world. It's always some sort of hype propaganda thing. A lot of it is like terraforming Mars, or these strange ethical conversations, and a lot of it is also kind of this reaffirmation of the Big Bang, of old ideals and old cosmology. And even today, what did I see? I was looking up large telescopes for some reason every few months or so. I'm like, let me see what the large telescopes are up to, because I think the biggest joke is that mega multi-billion-dollar telescopes with all the high-tech gear do hour-long live streams and never show you what the scope is actually seeing. I mean, I'm laughing because I'm a little nervous, because I say this kind of lightly, because I don't know the exact details, right? Like, is it military controlled? Is it private industry? Is it nothing in the building? Any number of things could be the truth, but I find it's and some people comment about it. They're like, it's crazy that you only show outside the building and stacked photography of a DSLR shot, and you don't show us what the 50-inch scope is seeing. And yeah, I think that's just insane. It's like a Twilight Zone episode sometimes. Ayad Hassan says, Zoom, please. All right, let's do that. We can look at some Saturn up close. What's up, unnamed citizen? The gods are not planets, friends. There aren't gods in a pluralistic... Oh, I should explain the whole title. Is that... I just mean I was looking into all these different things, and there's this real desire for historians to stick to this idea of imaginary deities. Oh, we have no idea where they came from. oh, just the Assyrian, they were just deities, and she did this and he did that, and there's this weird sense of like, not just wiki. I mean, wiki is like the least of our problems, but real history papers. I looked up a ton of different things today, and there's always this wall that they get to where they will not say that, oh, this was Mars, this was Jupiter, this might have been another planet. And then you get to Sitchin, right? You end up down the rabbit hole with like Zacharias Sitchin and then ufology, which is not where I wanted to go. Because for some reason, like, even though it's very logical that there might have been different planets and the heavens were different, there's always this idea that, oh, there were Nephilim and there are people that came to Earth and enslaved humanity. And I'm like, geez, could you stop with that shit? It's so hard to get through these kind of ancient history things without immediately having like a superior race that dehumanized people. It's not that I don't believe that that's true. I just don't think it was an alien race. I think it was just people enslaving people. Since the get. So anyway, point is, when I say gods are planets, it just means that, like, I was just trying to have a quippy nutshell title that was like, all right, all these real stories, if you read them from the perspective of, oh, that's a star, that's a planet, that's a comet, that's an electrical interaction, things don't collide, things electrically interact. It's way easier to interpret almost all historical texts and biblical texts from a physical standpoint, as opposed to always to getting back to this imaginary, somebody created a meme, and that meme, then they made statues about that meme. Like, it's so ridiculous that, like, historians don't even try to relate it to astronomy. It's immediately dismissed as like fabricated myth or god or some sort of like soap opera level relationship drama that actually created these myths, as opposed to like an actual plasma beam in the sky. Anyway, that's a little thoughts. Let's zoom in here. I'm gonna have to switch up the lens a little bit. But let me know what you think of my rant. I'm gonna rant a bunch tonight. Feeling it. This is some, what is this song? Let's do Bring Me Back, Dreamfield, and Survive. 6:30 p.m. Eastern, edge of space, another ride, exploring our world. It's always a pleasure.
Bring me back. Just bring me back out of the cold. Ooh, bring me back. Just bring me back. I need you more. This cosmic revelation, we all have our bases to play. We creatures grinding against the grain. Built your world with nothing to fear but yourself. Apparitions that we bleed through. Every fear, your open wide soul modulation. You just come feel this ride so high, your love I'm craving. But I can't see it till you, ooh, just bring me back. Oh, bring me back.
Alright, just hopping in before continuing the tunes to just tell you what we're looking at. Obviously Jupiter, but Great Red Storm creeping in on the left. Jupiter at such a steep angle right now because it's about to set. This is the camera, 8-inch scope with no optics between them, so it's cam direct to scope. And it's looking pretty good. I think there are a lot of chromatics, a lot of atmospheric turbulence tonight, and also a bit of haze. So it's not as clear as you can normally get, but you can see some of the Great Red Storm, and obviously just seeing Jupiter in general is pretty epic. Hopping in to say what's up to everybody, jumping into the chat. Let's see, who have I missed? I know Unnamed Citizens talking about some interesting views. Let's see, astronomy is arbitrary. It was just a cover for failed astrological dispensationalism. I like that. Mystery school became academia. All great thoughts, all great thoughts. Michael Stiller says, gotta pay to use the telescope, the large scopes. I'm sure that the people aren't giving away free observations. Well, I still think it's weird that you have none, not a single telescope. And furthermore, it's not even just like that scope, right? Like all the big scopes have a 14-inch or 17-inch handy, or several of them in their side observatories. So I feel like it's ridiculous that they don't even show just, like this is an 8-inch scope and you can see Jupiter fairly clearly, right? Like I'm talking about like a 30-inch, 40-inch scope just in your external building at one of the amazing Peruvian sites, or like up at Mount Wilson. I know Mount Wilson has several of them. Anyway, seems a little sus, what can I say? But I hear you on paying the bills. What's up, Kat? Nice to see you. What's up, Happy Honey Big Bear? Loving the rant. Thank you. I know there is a 3-minute delay, like just because pushing out 4K, like I have to use the delay. Michelle de los Rios, what was that point? About what I said? Tell me and I'll be more specific. If you can pinpoint it. Sorry, I say a lot of things. What up, Rick Dangerous? Why is the top of Jupiter blue and the bottom red, like a halo haze? Know what I'm talking about? Yeah, so if you've ever seen Venus, right, you'll see that because Venus is always very, very bright, it's radiating, right? It's also usually near the horizon, either rising or setting. And the blue and red coloring or orange coloring is due to fringing. So you get the fringe of red and fringe of blue. And really what's happening is that the radiance and the sympathetic resonance of the planet and our atmosphere, ionosphere, Earth's resonance, optics, right, is creating a diffraction in the spectral lines received by the planet, yeah, so that's what's happening. It's light diffracting, and you can see essentially a spectrum range, and because the edge is really what's catching most of it, you'll see the diffraction lines pushing to the red wavelength and then to the blue wavelength. Happens a lot with Venus, but now Jupiter and Saturn are heading low on the horizon. You see it a lot more. When we see the moon high up in the sky, it's much less visible, but even the moon gets fringing. Unnamed Citizen, let's see, Michael Stiller. Oh, lots of comments. I love it. So many people tonight. This is difficult to keep up with everybody. What's up, Dennis Humble? Love it, even with a slight distortion. Heck yeah. I love it too. Mississippi Case, what's happening? Awesome shot. Thank you. All right. Marky Road, good evening, Stargazers. And Ryan and NC, what's happening, bud? All right, let's get back to the tunes and keep it riding here. I'm going to get a quick drink over here while we watch some Jupiter, and I'm going to switch over to Saturn for us. This one's called Dreamfield.
Sleepless peace on and on. My dreams are made of feel so tiny. Sleepless peace on and on. My kids are made of dreams so high. surface of the moon, they sit undead. Until you know my dream, as none of us will always be waiting for them to wake up eternally. Let's get pushing on up this burn. Sleepless beats. My dreams are made of feel so tiny. Sleepless beats. My fields are made of dreams so high. Sleepless beats. My dreams are made of feel so tiny. Sleepless beats.
Alright, so we're trailing here to Saturn for a little bit. Again, lots of atmospheric turbulence, but we can see a little bit of the white band in the middle and definition of the outer rings, which is great. They are moving quite quickly, so I'm going to try and do some zoomed in shots here and then do one more of them together before they completely move out of view. Want to hop in and say what's up to everybody else joining, hanging out, and I see that there's a question and somebody that I missed, which was Paul. Where's your question? Paul Pumpely says, if stars are being born all the time, how come we don't see them appear constantly in the night sky as their light arrives? So it's a great question, actually, probably the first time I've ever heard that. I think I have an opinion on it, which is that I think that not a lot of stars are being born that are bright enough to really see. So I don't think they're as bright as these stars that we see in the night sky because they're still young. And over a certain time, the star shines brightly and then it dims again. So it's almost like a human life cycle is how I think about stars. And just a different time frame, but basically a human life cycle or a bacterial life cycle. Therefore, I feel like stars are being birthed, but not ones that we can really see. And every so often you will see aberrations in what is historically thought to be a dead night sky. Now the public, even pop science, admits that stars are being born. So I think I'm still not 100% convinced as to how it actually works, but I feel like given the premise of stars being grown along Birkeland filaments in space, I would imagine if you think about how a plant blossoms and bears fruit and then withers and dies, I can imagine that stars are either like fruit on a branch or on a vine, or even flowers along a vine that have a certain type of arc in its life cycle where they are a certain shape and then they blossom and then they wilt or whatever, they blossom and then they're really radiant for a while and they close up, and there's a whole life cycle when it comes to plants. I'm pretty convinced for myself that planets and stars and humans and plants all operate identically, but at different scalar dimensions. What's up, Awesome Army 117? First time you see this? That's great. Yeah, this is not the best shot I have of Saturn, but this is pretty good for the little 8-inch on the staircase, and that we get to see Saturn and Jupiter is always amazing. Jero Stormy Fire says, always gets me when the rings of Saturn start getting defined and visioned. So awesome. An oval, then ta-da, yippee, spheres in the rings. I love it too, like especially because when I first saw Saturn, I was like, oh, it's a tiny dot. When you first get the 8-inch and you don't really know what you're doing, you're like, that's like, I can't see anything. But you learn how to use the magnification, and then you learn how to really dial in the focus, and you start seeing the separation of the rings. It's an entirely different experience. But even more so if anyone's ever seen it. Like, this is pretty magical, I have to say. It's very close, but seeing it with the optics, like on a big scope in a dark sky, with a diagonal and kind of just looking at it within contextual space. So it's almost as if the eye has its own type of its gain and its aperture, right? So it kind of levels out everything where you're seeing the planet, but also the moons around it and the stars around it. And when I do it with the camera, like, I have to play with the settings to get those types of views. So the eye just adjusts its own version of that. Yo, TJ, what's happening, bud? What's up, Tom? Lost Brooklyn says, nature makes no mistakes, or very rarely. Yeah, that's an Alan Watts thing that I absolutely agree with. I think it's something that you have to just hear once, and it makes perfect sense. Like, we never look at plants. And well, that's not true. I mean, there are certain things that people look at with disgust, right? There's always that factor. However, people don't really look at clouds, let's say, or flowers or trees and say, wow, that's really ugly. That tree should work out, right? Even though we are also moving into a culture where mankind is at war with the habitat, right? Killing tons of plants and animals and deforestation. So at this, but I think in terms of its physical, visual makeup, right? When you look at a cloud, you really don't judge it the same way we judge our own species. But I think it is changing even. I think people do look at dogs and they're like, that's an ugly looking dog, or they look at or a fat looking cat, and you can't help but try and create a story or labels to define the things that we see. So I've started to kind of be okay with the fact that, like, most people are racist, and people are elitist, and people are judgmental. And I think it's more about a perspective of looking at those functions and saying, like, how does this serve the collective culture, or how does it detract from the collective culture, as opposed to saying, like, got to get rid of all feelings of things, all conviction, and all homogenize. What's happening, Cyber Sully? Little treat for this rainy day. As Crow says, Crow Trip 7 says there's no lie in nature. I agree with that, but I don't know. Well, I've said it before. I respect Crow very much, but I think we have very, like, slightly different ways of coming at the world. I feel like if I were to break that down, because I always do for y'all, there's no lie in nature, but that's saying that there's this separate judgment of what a lie is and what true is, right? And for a lot of people, what you think is a lie is a truth, and what you think is a truth is a lie. So to say there's this golden truth and or lie is in and of itself an untruth, because one cannot be the determinant of that. For me, I think nature makes no mistake, as Alan Watts kind of paraphrased some Buddhist texts. I think that's a cool way of looking at it, because it's true. It makes you think. It makes you have an awakening. It makes you consider that, oh, we don't judge nature. It actually allows you to kind of elaborate upon the thinking, which is what great koans do. Matthew Hughes, what's happening? Rainy day in California. Happy to bring some planets to y'all. I see Wildman Argo. What's happening? Wow, that is beautiful. Thanks for getting... Very happy too. It's my pleasure. Alright, let's get back to a few tunes here. And I think I'm going to... What should we do? This is Saturn, as close as we're going to see it, but I'd like to get us another Saturn-Jupiter combined shot for everybody just joining. And as well, I'd like to remind you to check out the beginning of this video. The first 10 seconds, there's a very cool flyby. If y'all like weird flybys. I didn't find it on Stellarium, but I think it was a satellite. So first like 10-15 seconds of this stream. Either check it out now or check it out later. Alright, let's get into some tunage. This is Dreamboat. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier, but I just turned the camera and now we can see them very clearly in the same frame. So this is freaking awesome. I'm glad I had that genius brainchild right now. So look at that. Saturn to the left, Jupiter to the right. Unbelievable. Crazy lucky. They're about to set, so it's not too much of this, but we got the shot. I actually think I can record this and still keep them in frame. So let's get it. Let's get this damn thing. Boom. That's too damn cool. Too damn cool. Let's see, how do I adjust this a little bit? Get this centered. Let me know what you think of this shot. Prognosticator of prognosticators. Alright, there it is. There it is. That's the shot. That is the shot of the night right there, everybody. We are so lucky such a small group of people get to see this, and even fewer people get to share this. Let's get a little bit brighter. There we go. Ooh, it's pretty crazy. Well, thanks for sharing this amazing ride with me. Let's play some tunes here. Dig back to the classics for Marky Rowe. Let's do something from Captain, yeah? Let's do some Light of the Moon, because that's a good tune for everybody to get in the mood.
Dream
All right. Hopping back in here to chat through this because, like, crazy, this shot. You see now Jupiter's starting to go a little nuts on the right because I think it's hitting the tree line. And it's getting pretty low, but yeah, now I know how we can see both of them in the same frame for the next, whatever, 10 days. It's going to be amazing. So yeah, you can see all the moons of Jupiter. From the left to the right, it's Ganymede, Io, Europa, and Callisto is the far right. Callisto prophecy. And then at the very top, you'll see this other thing that looks very bright. That's a star, magnitude 1.5. The very top left, of course, Saturn. And at the 7 o'clock position, you've got Titan as the most visible moon. And then close to Saturn, if we were to zoom in a bit, it would see Enceladus, Tethys, Rhea, Dione, and Iapetus. At least those. I'm looking at you, Shockwave. Yeah, TJ, so yep. Let me just say hi to all the new people. Appreciate all the kind words. And see Hans Koning, what's happening? Cheers from England, welcome. Other stars in the background, right? Francisco, there are a bunch of yeah, if you look at Stellarium and you'll kind of see all the different stars. A lot of them are named just a code name like SAO 55345 or like HP. So there's nothing really, it's kind of tough to remember which are which, but they all reside in different sections of the cosmological makeup. And some people do know names of these stars offhand. What's up? Let's see. Well, I'm sorry if I missed you. I see a lot of cool comments, but let's keep moving here. Play a few more songs from the older records. That was Light of the Moon. And perhaps now... let's do some Chrome Fantastic. Yeah, see that. So a little bit longer with our planets. Oh, and Matthew Hughes. Yeah, that's who I was looking for. Thanks. Always blessed to catch the streams you capture. Thank you. Well, welcome. Oh, I see rainbows and butterflies now. I couldn't scroll up for a second. And Cyber Sully, thank you. And The Truth. Streaming the conjunction would be amazing. I'm definitely going to do that. Let me lower that. Definitely going to stream the conjunction. But this is basically what we're going to see. Just a little bit closer. I see Flat Punta. Beautiful. Welcome. And... alright. Now that I was able to scroll up, so... Let's get back to older tunes. What about this one, Throw Your Arms Down?
I was shaken by the pain of love. Mom never said that I had to get older. 'Cause I was thinking of calling you up to bring me back towards emotion. Let's meet down by the house of cards and watch the sun go supernova. 10,000 days on earth I've waited all alone to trip. 10,000 days on earth I've played along while the record skips. And all I've got to say, we all rock the same. Oh, all I got to say, we all rock the same. Come on, high, floating slow through desert sands. I just know mirage, higher, floating slow through desert lands. Throw your arms down. Just a whisper from your thunder, just the crackling of the rain. Don't go missing in the splendor. Try to capsize my brain. And all I got to say, we all rock the same. Oh, all I got to say, we all rock the same. Come on.
Alright, that was a little Throw Your Arms Down. I'm just waiting here because I feel like maybe we'll still get another quick peek at both of them together. So I'm keeping the wide view, and maybe we'll get one more shot. But either way, it's been super beautiful tonight. One of those special nights. It always feels electric, just consciously, physically. Captured so many rare and unique things doing this, and it's only been 5 years. And that's a good segue into sharing this video, which I hope will get a little bit more traction. Honestly, like, I'm never about hyping up a video, but I gotta say, for all the UFO videos that are out there, they get millions of views, and the fact that this link right here that I'm dropping in the chat, this video has 779 views right now, and it's like actual crazy shots of space stuff, like rare, insane stuff that I can't even believe sometimes that I actually captured, to be perfectly honest. And a lot of y'all in this chat were live when we captured these. So this 20 real and rare astronomy captures video has Mercury transiting the sun. It has Venus being occulted by the daytime moon. It's got all the plasma waves, or most of them. So moon wave, Saturn wave, Jupiter wave. It's got 3 or 4 completely unidentifiable little shadow objects. It's got ISS, it's got Hubble, and yeah, it would be awesome if you guys shared this and or watched it if you haven't seen it before. This 20 real and rare astronomy captures video. It's also in my playlist, so you can check out a lot of those individual videos from a jump-off point. I created a playlist as well. Ellie Wynn lurking, no problemo. No problemo. And yeah. So I think I'm going to go actually grab some dinner. Saturn and Jupiter are setting. I got really hungry really quickly after all this chat and all this kind of running around. If it's clear later, I'm going to try for M42, but it wasn't clear last night, so I think like it's going to get too hazy. But perhaps. If not, I shall catch y'all tomorrow or the day after, depending on cloudiness, and we'll see some more of this, but I'll just basically start off with the camera at an angle, and we'll see how close they get. And then if you want, take a screenshot from tonight, and then next stream tomorrow or the day after, take another screenshot, and then we can compare the distance like in Photoshop. So that's an exercise. Another thing would be to leave me a comment, please. Would be great. Let me know what song was your favorite, or what point you liked, or what point you disagreed with. I really enjoy reading the comments, and I'm trying to respond to them a little bit more quickly. New music soon. Lots of cool stuff coming up on Bandcamp. I promise I'm going to get it done this holiday. And yeah, I appreciate all the new people, lurkers, and people who don't even like the show. You're all necessary. Let's close out with... should we do Captain? Captain or Strut? Captain or Strut? Let me know in the chat. TJ says, TBS, am I wrong? I'm guessing it's about 7 p.m. Yeah, it's 7:15 p.m. and it's probably early, but like, yeah. Got really hungry really quickly when you just burn lots of calories setting up the scope, and that satellite in the beginning just like got me like amped so quickly. So definitely go back and check. Yeah, so what's super interesting, yeah, see, I can't even end the stream if I wanted to, but what's interesting is yesterday captured the Crew Dragon satellite and a Starlink satellite, 2 satellite transits in one stream, and then tonight serendipitously was able to capture that in like just such a crazy thing. I said the story earlier, but I'll tell it one more time, which is I was not recording on the camera, right? So I would have never, it just passed through the screen, and I realized that I had hit start streaming from OBS just in time for it to capture this crazy, crazy looking thing right in the beginning. And I happened to hit start stream, so it went to YouTube at the right time. Just absolutely unbelievable that happened. But also totally believable and expected, since it's all in my head. It's all in your head. Actually, not. We're in our head. The whole body is within the head, our mind. Good vibes to everybody. Genghis, I see you in the chat. Rainbows and butterflies. Love and vibe. Hell yeah. I appreciate that. Cool. Did you guys say which... Can you clip it and post it, please? Yeah, let me do that. Like, why don't I just... Yeah, what I'm probably was thinking about doing is I want to focus on the music a bit, and then maybe at the end of the conjunction, once we see it, then I'll compile like the 2 weeks leading up to it with all the different weird shit. This has only been 2 nights, and it's already crazy. So, yeah, let's do Strut to close it out here. Have a great rest of your night, everybody. I'll catch you really soon. Thank you. Captain Owl!